Hello, I'm Amber.
And I'm Neha. We are parents of a gifted child who's on autism spectrum.
Through our YouTube channel, we want to help parents with children on the autism spectrum learn more about autism, avoid a lot of myths that are there related to autism, as well as provide tips and strategies that can help ease the parenting journey for you. All our content is well researched, but please note that every child is unique and there is no way that this video would replace any kind of a professional medical advice or intervention. If you find this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and further share it with any parents or caregiver you know whose child may be on the spectrum. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and together we can create a brighter future for our children. So today we are going to talk about a lot of myths that are there related to autism. Myth number 1. Autism is a disease. One common misconception about autism is that it is a disease. A lot of posts we see of parents on social media, on various groups, where they discuss how they can treat autism. There are also a lot of so-called medical practitioners or doctors who promise a cure for autism. But the fact is, autism is not a disease. It's not an illness that can be cured by giving any kind of a medicine. Autistic people are definitely not ill. Autism cannot be cured with any medicine. In fact, the word cure doesn't even should come into discussion. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that can affect the social and communication skills of a person who has it. Autistic people can still live relatively completely independent and meaningful lives that are healthy and productive. Again, that depends on where they are on the spectrum. So autism is, I can't say that every child with autism is same. It's a band, it's a spectrum. Some people may be on the one end of a spectrum, some may be on the other end of the spectrum. Some would be able to do certain things very well, others may not be able to do those things very well.
And then you have average in the middle, which is like a normal human being also on the spectrum.
Then another myth is that autism is caused by vaccines. Now, especially, we heard more about vaccines like MMR, and then there are a lot of, medical research that we hear on the internet where we say that a lot of tests have been done repeatedly and across large groups of people, and it has been found that vaccines are not linked to autism. We cannot say that with a lot of uncertainty, because there has been in the past a lot of evidence of involvement of pharmaceutical companies and how their corruption, how they can corrupt the medical science. A lot of money is actually pumped in by these companies to hide probably the side effects of the vaccine. So whether this is true or not, this is something which I think
we are also unsure
about. None of us would be really sure about, so we won't talk much on it.
And there is people with autism don't feel emotion. I think this is absolutely incorrect. We see our children displaying, we see our children showing a lot of different kinds of emotions. It's just that maybe they're not verbal about it, but they do show the emotions. Some people think that they cannot feel any emotions, and the others think, okay, not all of them do they feel that. But that's not true. Just because they are a little distant, just because they don't have that ability to actually form relationships or make friends, it doesn't mean they do not have emotions. They all have emotions. They are all capable of feeling a lot of things, of even displaying their emotions. You have when they are sad, they do have that kind of they have those kind of emotions which either they are crying or they are upset, they look upset. Then also autistic people, they do struggle, and it's very difficult for them to understand other people's emotions, and it is they don't understand if their body language is sad or if they are happy or if there's any other kind of expression that they are giving. They are not able to understand fully, but that does not make them incapable of being emotional. Emotionally, they are very well, they have the ability to feel things. They can feel all kinds of emotions. They have to be worked on with the therapists, with the help of other medical interventions on like the therapists, and I mean in different fields. It can be autists, it can be the ABA therapists. Everybody has to work towards it. That is how their emotions are brought out.
Also, I think in one point I want to add here is, I think over a period of time with parents and caregivers of autistic children ultimately end up realizing this. But I think the outside world, the who don't know much about autism, they need to specifically know more about it, because I think they are the ones who think more about this, that they, because when they see that our child is, an autistic child is not interacting well with their child, or is, being totally trying to ignore them, or maybe is not making eye contact, they kind of start feeling more that, autistic children don't have emotions. We as parents, after some time, understand that.
Yes. Also, people with autism have an intellectual disability and can't speak. That is a big myth. People with autism can speak, and they are not mentally disabled. I mean, they're not intellectually disabled. They are very well capable of understanding things. These kind of children take longer to understand, hence we engage in one-on-one sessions for them. They need all the attention. So once you give it to them, you will realize, or we all realize that time, that they do understand. It does not mean, autism does not mean that they are intellectually disabled. It's not an intellectual disability, not at all. Some can do, some can speak, some can communicate well, others can't. And a few autistic children have a higher IQ than people in regular, and some of them can be on average range. But not only there's a whole different range in their in the spectrum, as we already said. So even in the intellectual ability, there's a whole range. You cannot put everybody into the same mold and say that they all cannot speak, or they all are intellectually they have this disability. That is not true.
So there's another myth that one can grow out of autism. People think that with a lot of therapies the child will eventually, as he or she grows old, will come out of autism. But the fact is, it's a lifelong condition and it can't be cured. But yes, the fact is that with a lot of therapies and all, there is a good possibility that one can reduce, and be able to manage the symptoms of autism better. Autism can't be cured; it can be managed, and the child is able to learn,
understand things as when they grow.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that the child will get cured of autism. It will always be there.
So we have a lot of videos on YouTube where they claim that the child has come out of autism. It doesn't mean that child has come out of that condition. It means he's able to manage himself well. He's been able to cope up with his condition, and he's being able to come up to a certain level, and that is what usually they say, that the child is being pulled out of the condition.
In fact, I have known a few people who did tell me that their child, they had a very mild form autism in the beginning, and they were able to give early intervention, and a lot of symptoms were managed. And now those parents tell us that the child has actually come out of autism, which is not there, because and then what they start doing is they start treating such children as normal, as if they never had autism and they've been cured out of it, which is not the fact. Such children will always have some kind of will be autistic, and it doesn't mean you start, treating them like a normal. I mean, you have to treat them like a normal. I mean, you have to give them the love and care, attention as a normal child, but you always have to, at the back of your mind, remember that he is still autistic.
And they have the condition which is not completely cured, if they want to call it as cured. We know it's just a condition. We have to manage it, and even if they have reached a certain point, we should be able to give them same kind of love and follow the same pattern, that they stay on that level and not bounce back, or what we call regress.
Yes.
Also, another sometimes I find it funny, but then bad parenting can cause autism. Well, no kind of parenting like that literally can cause autism. Children are born with that condition. It can be triggered by certain things, but it is not something which happens with bad parenting, if you want to, if that is the term we are going to use here. And this is a very interesting fact here that way back in the 50s, there was a theory often referred to as the refrigerator mother hypothesis. That this theory suggests that mothers who were not warm emotionally and could be neglectful or distant would traumatize their child so much that it could cause autism. Of course, this is not possible. This is not true. Unfortunately, this myth has not been eradicated completely, and scientifically there is no proof for it. Everybody scientifically says it's a condition, so you need to understand your methodology of parenting really doesn't create autism.
In fact, bad parenting can't cause autism, but it can probably worsen symptoms of autism. One, if the parents are not able to, you ignore your child, you don't send him for therapies, you don't treat him well, don't show love.
It's more like denial.
You're in a denial mode, and you will not, do anything to, help or support your child. Then it can worsen, the symptoms related to autism, and can result in more frequent meltdowns and child being constantly dissatisfied and unhappy. So it can worsen it, but it cannot cause it.
Absolutely. So also there's this I think since our children are we look at our children more, we scrutinize them so much, we tend to think that they are more violent than any other kid in the world, but that's not true. I think every child has certain aggression in them, and they are not able to display their emotions. Regular children, I would say, they are able to talk about their emotions, they are able to put it out in front of us. But our children, they need a little more support, and when they are when they come under the spectrum, they're not really able to talk about their emotions, and their emotions come out in the manner of maybe a little hitting or getting angry.
More meltdowns.
You have to manage them. So it's not right to say that it's more prevalent in these autistic kids, the hitting or the violent behavior. That's not true at all. I can vouch for it, because I think when we were all very small, when we would fight with our siblings, my parents would always say that you are very violent for that matter. But surely enough, I don't think we can ever put this thing there that the autistic children are more violent.
Again, a very common myth is that all autistic children have a savant skill. Savant is like an extraordinary skill. They will be exceptionally good in one particular area. It could be music, computers, math, numbers,
any art forms, anything.
Art, numbers. So this is something which is very, we are told frequently, especially when we as parents have our children get diagnosed with autism. A lot of parents, a lot of other people tell us this to probably make us feel emotionally better and accept that our children's condition, that okay, don't worry, he has autism, but he will do well in one particular area exceptionally well. And it also makes the parent a little calmer and happier. But the fact is, there is actually no link of autism with being savant. In fact, no more than 1 in 10% of people with autism display any kind of advanced level of a particular skill. Even those who have a savant skill, the skills themselves are very varied, both in types and in degree. Autistic individuals often exhibit very specific and focused interest in a singular topic, and sometimes to the inclusion of everything and anything else. This means that they might have a higher than average level of knowledge on a specific subject, because they are constantly focusing their attention on one thing, and they are like, okay, they
deep
into it. But that doesn't mean that that they have that inborn gift. So
They might have, they might not have. We have to keep discovering, we have to keep exploring. We must continue with that process.
It's not a surety, you know.
Exactly. So we should be prepared for both, but we should think for the best. Yeah. And we hope you like the video. Please do let us know if you have heard of any other myths which you would like to share with us, and we can please put them in the comment box section. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And my last request to you all is, whenever you hear of a myth, whenever you hear something related to autism by other parents or probably somebody with no experience in autism, just simply don't believe it or you start adopting it. You have to do your you have to do your own research. You have to speak to professional therapists and doctors. Just don't start believing it and doing self-treatment. Please do your research well. So thank you so much.